Hi friends, welcome back to my channel if you are returning. Today I wanted to share a few tips on how to create an aesthetic junk journal spread. So this video would be great for anyone who is interested in starting to junk journal but you're not sure on where to start. Or maybe you're in the process of discovering your junk journal style and you just want some tips for along the way. This video is for you. Before we begin, I want to start off with a few reminders and caveats. The first reminder is that your journaling style should be unique to you. You shouldn't feel any pressure to replicate my style or anyone else's style on the internet because junk journaling should be a creative outlet that is true to you. And finding your style will take some time, especially if you're just starting to junk journal. And it's okay to find inspiration in different places, but at the end of the day, it should be unique to you. The second tip or reminder that I have is that if you are starting to junk journal, I would recommend taking one of these tips and really incorporate it into multiple junk journal spreads until you're familiar with it, rather than taking all of these tips and trying to incorporate it at once. When you're discovering your journaling style, I find that it's easier to lock in on one aspect versus try to incorporate all of these aspects and it becomes overwhelming, which is what you don't want. And the last tip is to honestly just have fun, which I know is so cliche to say, but journaling should be a creative outlet for you, so it should be fun. There are going to be times where you incorporate all of these tips, and there are also going to be times where you incorporate none of these tips, and that doesn't mean that your journal spread is any less aesthetic if you don't use any of these tips. These are just tips that I like to use whenever I want to create a journal spread but not have to think so hard about it. So with all of those reminders out of the way, let's go ahead and get started on those tips now. The first tip I have is to understand general color theory, because when you understand how colors work together, you can create a really harmonious spread without even really trying. So if you're looking at a color wheel, there are a few easy color combinations just based on this wheel. The first color combination are complementary colors, which are essentially two colors that are on opposite ends of the color wheel. The next color combination is monochrome, where you stick to one color and build the journal spread around that. I do recommend, if you go with monochrome spreads, to use different shades of whatever color you use, just so that there are some dimension and variation in your journal spread. The last color combination is to use analogous colors, which are essentially two colors right next to each other on the color wheel. So if I wanted to make a green spread, I can go in either yellow or blue to create the spread and it'll still look really harmonious. The next tip I have is to add texture to your journal spreads. I think adding texture is such a simple way to add dimension and make your spreads a little bit more interesting to look at. So a few easy ways to add texture is to rip and or crumple paper. I think ripped paper adds an organic feel to the journal spread and just acts as a reminder that we're working with actual paper here. So I like having differences in each paper rip. I also like crumpling up paper, especially receipts, because it's such an easy way to add texture to the spread. It also gives the receipt a lived-in feel to it and isn't so flat. The last tip to adding texture to a journal spread is to use lace or ribbon if you have any laying around. Obviously, you shouldn't go out of your way to buy ribbon just for a journal spread, but if you have any left over from old gift wrapping, it would be perfect to hold on to for a future spread where you feel like you need a little bit more texture. This next tip is kind of more of a personal style tip, but it is to fill up space and to layer your junk. I personally love when my junk journal spreads cover every centimeter of the page, but I know that some people prefer a more minimalist approach to junk journaling, which is totally valid, or maybe you don't have enough junk to work with, but there are still small and subtle ways of filling up those empty spaces. The most obvious way to fill up space is to use stickers. If you've watched some of my older videos, you know that I love sticker books because they come with so many different stickers and they are honestly the best bang for your buck. Lastly, don't be afraid to layer your junk. But those are my 3 tips on creating aesthetic journal spreads if you're just starting or maybe discovering your own journaling style. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please be sure to like this video and subscribe for more journaling/stationery content. Bye!